And welcome back to Miami as the Heat, who failed to sell out a home playoff game for the first time in franchise history Saturday, have a packed house tonight as we bring you the starting lineup for the New York Knicks. They're going with Charlie Ward and Allen Houston as usual in the backcourt. Larry Johnson, Patrick Ewing, who was hobbled in a game-time decision. Kurt Thomas, the other forward. For the Miami Heat, also going the same way with Tim Hardaway and Dan Marley at guard and Jamal Mashburn, Alonzo Mourning, P.J. Brown up front. Right now, let's send it over to Craig Sager.
Well, Pat Riley's incomparable ability to motivate his team is being challenged. Skeptics of the Heat's chances question the cardboard cutouts with personalized championship rings that Riley had placed in each player's locker. Now, at yesterday's practice, there was no motivational speech. Riley simply turned on the VCR and forced the team to watch their performance in Game 1. According to one player, that was motivational enough. Tonight, he spent 10 minutes just moments ago getting his players to believe in themselves. I was told the speech was matter of fact. We're the #1 seed. They're the 8th seed. Go play like it. Dick, Judy?
Well, he's been beaten badly before. Remember the Memorial Day Massacre in 1985 when his Lakers were blown out by 34 points to the Celtics. The Lakers won 4 of the next 5, and he has a history, including this year, with the Heat coming back from adversity. Set to go, Dan Crawford, Bernie Fryer, and Nolan Fine are the officials, and the Heat control the tip, and the Knicks are expecting an explosion here.
Well, Nick, they're looking here. Naturally, we're going to have pick and rolls at both sides and a dominant inside play. Key tonight, can Hardaway beat the defense off the dribble and create?
Kurt Thomas defending against Alonzo Mourning, who scored 27 points on 10 of 16 shooting. He was the lone hero of some sorts in a losing cause for Miami.
Well, he's just had a sensational season. Game 1, nothing more than a continuation. Right now, we have a picky type of a foul, and they're calling it with the forearms up, and it's on
Mourning.
It's on Alonzo Mourning. Now, we know that he cannot get #2 in the next 6 or 7 minutes.
He has largely stayed out of foul trouble this year. Difference from the previous seasons. P.J. Brown knocking the ball away, and Patrick Ewing, who is really hurting. And he wasn't looking that good despite his fine defensive play on Saturday. Game time decision as to whether he would start with that Achilles tendon hurt, but he comes in and follows up on Houston's miss to tie the score.
Now, that was unforgivable. Alonzo Mourning never put a block out on Patrick. He turned around. Patrick went right by him for an easy follow.
You got to wonder about the Heat. They blew the game to the Knicks 3 Sundays ago. Then they lose to Chicago and Boston at home before yesterday's loss here at Miami Arena. And, you know, with all of the great motivational talks by their coach, Pat Riley, the Heat have simply not responded.
The big thing right now, it's all about playing.
Larry Johnson missing, and the rebound this time, Mourning does get position.
Yeah, Miami needs to get some easy baskets. They've got to get up the floor quick and then shoot fast and take advantage of the mismatch.
As P.J. Brown does. Brown did not get fined or suspended after his swipe at Chris Childs in the 4th quarter of game #1, and he gives the Heat the lead. You can expect this to be a spirited game and a low-scoring contest with the defenses dominating. Houston misses the shot, and the Heat bring it up.
At both ends of the floor, you have staggered screens, and you have a lot of pick and rolls. Now, that was a cheap pop by Kurt Thomas onto Alonzo Mourning. Now, Kurt Thomas plays Alonzo. Patrick Ewing does not match up with him. Now, just keep it right there. There it is. See, they're going to keep sending messages. It's not only that you have to fight through the tough screens here tonight, Dick. You've got to overcome the tough fouls without losing your temper.
Jamal Mashburn working against Larry Johnson really throws up a bad shot, and Mashburn has been one of the players who hasn't come up offensively at all. 7 points on 3 for 12 shooting in game 1.
Well, they need him. He's their 3rd key scorer, and we're talking about a guy who's a high percentage shooter, and he gets you 16 or 18 a game.
The Heat double team and knock the ball away, so the Knicks have it with 8 seconds on the shot clock. Larry Johnson, who many of the Knicks, including Allen Houston, really play their best games against the Miami Heat. Ewing finds an open Thomas. Brown picks him up. 4 on the shot clock. Off the rim, Marley the rebound. Here is Hardaway pushing it up. Hardaway coming off a tough game for him. And Charlie Ward staying all over Hardaway. And Mourning with a turnaround. P.J. Brown had the offensive rebound, but loses it out of bounds.
Now, Tim Hardaway is such a catalyst here for Miami. We know that he's the key guy in pushing the ball and also hitting the threes in transition. But he's also the man that must break the defense down off the dribble. Everyone is questioning, is his knee sound? Is he healthy?
Yeah, that's a big question, and you wonder whether it's age or the fact that his knee is bothering him. Larry Johnson with a fall away over P.J. Brown hits. The Knicks started Saturday hitting 13 of their first 21 shots. They're 2 for 6 thus far.
And that was a primetime shot by Larry. Definite strong defense by P.J. Brown.
They double team Hardaway out on the perimeter to the Knicks. Brown guarded by Ewing goes right around Patrick, who fouled Brown before the drive.
Now this must be a major part of their game plan. If Patrick is going to play P.J. Brown, he cannot settle for jump shots. Anytime that they post him, turn and face, take him off the dribble. Anytime they hit him on 15 feet on the wing, he's got to challenge off the dribble and force Ewing to move.
Charlie Ward very nearly with the steal. And there is Mashburn firing away for 3 hits. So the Jamal Mashburn gets untracked, and the Heat leading 7-4 with less than 4 minutes elapsed.
Now that's what must happen. You beat your man, you're forced to help from the corner, kick out, in your face 3.
So the Heat shooting better, the Knicks cooling off, if you want to say that, from their sizzling start on Saturday. 3 on the shot clock, and there is Ewing.
Oh boy.
And misses the shot, and Mashburn went down. They could have easily called an offensive foul.
Absolutely. Patrick definitely jumped right into the chest of Mashburn.
And Alonzo Mourning leaves it out for Brown. And Brown missing the perimeter shot. He has developed that middle range shot during the year. So it's 7-4, Miami in front. Allen Houston shooting over Marley and hitting. A tough shot for Houston. Marley was in his face.
All Knicks fans are happy when you see Allen Houston getting off early. You're hoping because he can shoot the high percent. He's a low 40% shooter throughout his career. But you know when he's on fire, he can get you 25 to 30.
And he has really had his best games against the Miami Heat. Here is Hardaway backing in against Charlie Ward and misses the layup. Hardaway, normally that's an easy layup.
Well, that's a solid part of Timmy's game. The post-up game, he's got a lot of moves down inside, and you could see he definitely faked out Charlie for an easy shot attempt.
Larry Johnson spinning baseline and lays it in. He went around Mashburn, and Brown picked him up, and that was a problem that Mashburn had with Larry Johnson Saturday in Game 1.
Oh, bad pass.
Knicks lead 8-7, but a foul is called against the Knicks as the pass went out of bounds. It appears to be against Kurt Thomas, and if it is, it'll be his second personal foul and a timeout in a spirited first quarter.
Well, that's why Thomas is upset. He definitely grabbed Mourning and pulled him right in front of the referee. Now, we're going to show you Timmy Hardaway. He blows right by his man right there, Charlie Ward. Now, as he comes in off the dribble, Mashburn man leaves him. There's the pass that we're talking about. Timmy can break you down. Once you try to recover, kick out, and that will open up the three-point game. On Saturday, a lot of open shots, but Miami just could not make the shots.
And Mashburn was part of that group that couldn't make them, and last year shot only 27% against the Knicks in their 5-game series. So a lot of the people here in Miami looking for Mashburn to raise his game a level here in the playoffs.
The reason why we put that chart up for you, and we wanted to bring out the 41 shot attempts on Saturday, the key is they only attempted 74. So you're talking about over 50% of your shots.
Latrell Sprewell has come in the game, replacing Kurt Thomas, who leaves with 2 personal fouls. And Charlie Ward still defending against Hardaway and pushes him and will send Hardaway to the line. So Tim Hardaway posting up and not going for the threes early in this game, too.
Well, I like that strategy. The big thing right there is you take them down inside, you can work. You see it's a high percentage shot twice in a row. And then the key is if he gets fouled throughout his career, an 80-plus foul shooter.
Hardaway only 10 points in Game 1. Connects on the first free throw. Hardaway off of Game 1 compared to his brilliant performance last year. Remember, he scored 38 points in Game 7 2 years ago in the Eastern Conference semifinal, and the Heat regained the lead by 1. 6.5 to go in the first quarter, and Allen Houston posting up against Marley as both Ward, Marley, and Sprewell playing the small forward position now in there, and the foul called against Tim Hardaway.
Now, in the early going, the refereeing is very consistent at both ends. They are not going to allow these guys to manhandle one another on post-ups or on screens, and that's a good sign.
So the Knicks going with Sprewell early because of the foul trouble. He had 22 points in game 1 and was a hero, one of many for the Knicks. Allen Houston and Marley not letting him get away, and finally Houston is tripped, and Mashburn is called for the foul. And, you know, you say the officials are consistent, and that's a good sign. And I think they really have to be on their game tonight, because this is the kind of game after the blowout that you got to keep the lid on, because these teams have exploded in the past, as we know. Houston, with a crossover dribble, misses the jumper. And nearly halfway through this first quarter, the Heat by 1. Mashburn loses his dribble. Guarded by Sprewell. Mourning against Ewing, and Ewing going to have a lot of difficulty with the Achilles tendon with his lateral movement, and Mourning knows it.
All you have to do is put the ball on the floor, 2 bounces, and you're right by Patrick. There is nothing that he can do about it. Excellent move by Zoe.
And the Heat up by 3. Knicks playing more of the half court thanks to the defense of the Miami Heat in this game. Larry Johnson tries to get it to Ewing. Hard pass off his hands. And now the Heat coming back. Marley 0 for 6 on Saturday. Misses his first shot of the game. And the Knicks with a 4-on-3 situation here. But Ward nearly lost it on a turnover. And now it's last touched by Hardaway. So the Knicks had an advantage and couldn't take the chance there.
That's the 3rd guy in this quarter who has been dribbling the ball down and has not gotten a true bounce where the ball has bounced away from him.
An oddity here in this first quarter. Sprewell will fire from 3 and throws up a brick, and Marley loses it out of bounds. And Dan Marley with one of the few mental mistakes that he has made in his career.
That ricochet rebound came off like a shot out of a gun. Are you kidding? Come on.
Plenty of time on the shot clock. Johnson guarded by P.J. Brown. Challenges Mourning. Good block by Mourning. He held his ground. And the Heat with a 3-point lead get the ball once more.
You're going to have to earn a layup in this game tonight.
Yeah, you're right.
Because the fouls are going to be hard, and they're going to challenge every shot release.
Ewing picking up Hardaway on the switch, leaving P.J. Brown open at the top of the key. And the Heat missing some open shots. They had some good looks in game 1 and couldn't convert. Here is Sprewell with the drive, going to his left. And Latrell Sprewell, who in his first playoff victory Saturday after losing 3 straight while a member of the Warriors back in '94, losing to Phoenix. 1-point Miami lead with under 9 seconds, 10 seconds on the shot clock, and the Heat turn it over to Allen Houston.
Well, there was just too much dribbling there, just like there was right here. You know, Marley gambled that time, and Houston had the ball too far out in front of him. It was easy to get a piece of. At the other end, Mourning was dribbling too much. Larry Johnson's only hope in this situation is to reach from behind, and that's exactly what he did for the deflection.
Game started off in crisp fashion, but it's gotten sloppy in the last couple of minutes.
So you've got to go at Sprewell on Mashburn. Mashburn's got to do it for you.
Here's P.J. Brown, and this one he hits. P.J. Brown, who was 4 for 8 from the field, and lost his cool in the fourth quarter. And there you see some of the contact that goes on away from the ball. Heat by 3, 3:40 to go in the first.
The screens in this game are very solid. They're hard screens.
Houston double teamed. Gets it out to Ward.
Nice.
Good pass to Sprewell. Decides to pass up the jumper, drives, and is fouled on the block.
Now that's where you see Sprewell at his best. A few minutes ago, he came in and he shot that nice, easy, mid-range floater, a score. But when he catches the ball in the corner, you've got to play him because he's a 3-point threat. And then when he gives you the ball fake, he's so quick from that corner, and he's fearless. He will definitely challenge the rim.
Keith Askins, who did not play on Saturday because of a deep thigh bruise, he has missed the last 4 games, has checked into the Miami lineup as Sprewell misses the first free throw. Askins, who is the best perimeter defender on Pat Riley's team. And a veteran, the all-time games leader in a Miami uniform.
Now he's playing with a bruised thigh. Now he's their best defender, so this will be interesting to see the matchup. And by the way, Sprewell, that was rare because he is usually automatic on the line, always over 80. And there we just had Mourning and Johnson forearm one another. And tell you what, you're lucky that the referee saw the first pop here. Okay? Now, here it comes right in here. Now, they're not going to let that go tonight. You see, well, you're going to say, hey, in a normal NBA game, they're going to let people do that. Well, you cannot come down and just run into the chest of a player either. So there's two ways to look at that. Mourning definitely then retaliated with a forearm, which would have been his second, and then a major decision for Pat Riley.
Not the first time that Mourning and Larry Johnson have tangled, and you know some of the history. Former teammates at Charlotte, they were teammates, but hardly best friends, became fierce rivals, do not like each other. And of course, you remember last year, Mourning punched Larry Johnson. They were suspended, and the loss of Mourning, the Knicks ended up winning that opening round series as the 7th seed beat the 2nd seed in 5 games. Mourning makes 1 of 2 free throws, the Heat by 3.
Alonzo Mourning, 4th leading foul shot attempt guy in this league. In game 1, he got to the line 8 times. So you know they need him in there to break the defenses down. Nice block. And look up.
Mourning got a piece of Houston's jumper. Chris Dudley has come in the game giving Patrick Ewing a breather, and I don't know how much Ewing will play, according to Van Gundy, when we talked to him before the game. He is hurting.
They just had missed a golden opportunity. Mourning blocked the shot and was open for a layup.
And a great pass from P.J. Brown to Alonzo Mourning, and it was Brown who made the play. Mourning has 7, and the Heat open up their biggest lead. 5-point lead and a timeout called by the Knicks with 2:39 to go in the first. Already a different complexion from game number 1.
Now this is just a beautiful move by P.J. He felt Dudley come on him. Anytime Dudley's on me, I know Alonzo Mourning is open at the dotted line.
During the course of a tight playoff game, nobody is busier with their fingers than Hubie Brown with a telestrator. Unless it's Gurley Fernari with her knitting needles. What are you making?
I'm making a baby sweater.
Her 2-year-old granddaughter, Morgan, I must say, too, Dick, 11 years for the Heat. She has never missed a game.
Would have been nice if she had made the sweater for you, Craig. Not extra large, I'm sure. Maybe medium. Tell you, how do you knit in a game like this? You'll be not easy.
Relieves the pressure.
Yeah.
Right now, with Dudley in the game, you know that he'll be matched up with Alonzo Mourning, and they will use the 6 fouls with Dudley. An excellent rebound to shot block.
Knicks shot 53% in game 1. They're 36% so far in this first quarter. Way off the mark is Charlie Ward.
Now that's the second ricochet rebound. Come on, Ward and Sprewell. They've got to start zeroing in where we hit the rim.
16-11, the Miami Heat leading the New York Knicks as we get close to the 2-minute mark here in the first quarter of game 2. Knicks winning on the road in the opener. And once again, P.J. Brown with an inside feed to Alonzo Mourning, who has 9 points, and those two are making it click so far.
Wow, he's finishing strong, Dick. Every time that he gets the advantage, it's a strong power move. There is no doubt what he's doing with that ball.
Mourning, of course, playing despite the fractured right eye socket and goggles. Sat out the finale of the regular season, and going up is Sprewell, and the ball is knocked out of bounds, and they're going to call the foul on the shove against Latrell Sprewell.
Yeah, Askins is right there. Now just watch what happens here. Definite call. Good, right there. Nolan Fine right on the call. He gave a nice head fake. Unfortunately for him, the defender hung right in there.
So a 20-second timeout is called by the New York Knicks. Coming up on Turner Sports, NBA playoff action continues coming up at 8 o'clock on TNT. Game 2 of the Pistons against the Hawks, followed by the Suns and the Blazers. Coming up next on TBS, Game 2 between the Kings and the Jazz. Jazz leading 1-0. Portland winning Game 1 at home. And Hubie and I were in Atlanta as the Hawks won a 20-point game over the Pistons in the best-of-5 opener of that one.
both coaches, they're a mirror of one another. Naturally, Van Gundy being Pat Riley's assistant, but they do not allow you to run a 10-0, a 11-0, 12-0 before they do something. As soon as you get out there 5-0, 6-0, they're calling a timeout. They'll use their 20s. They're not afraid to go into the locker room at the end of the night without any timeouts left. All right? And you have to do that many times. You know your players. Stop the streaks.
7-point lead for Miami, the only lead the Knicks had in this first quarter, 8-7. Hardaway picked up by Larry Johnson. Screen and spot up, but they stayed with P.J. Brown. Brown has it again, shooting over the big Dudley and
there
hits.
You go.
P.J. Brown now with 6 points, and the Miami Heat on a 13-3 run.
Right now you can see defensively the Knicks are forcing Timmy Hardaway to his left every single opportunity. Now it's up to Timmy to figure out how he's going to get to the continuity.
And Chris Childs, who's come in the game at point guard, misses, and Larry Johnson cleans up with the basket. Johnson has 6 points to lead the Knicks, who trail by 7 with a minute remaining in the first quarter. So Hardaway with Marley, Brown, Mourning, and Askins. Askins the only substitute by Pat Riley here in the first. And Hardaway into the corner. Askins, who can hit from three-point range. Ball knocked away by Childs as he slapped it from Mourning.
The Knicks are very good in deflecting balls because they're always looking to double.
Houston misses from the perimeter, and Marley collects the long rebound. So Houston 1 for 6 after a sizzling game 1. Dudley gets a piece of the ball, but unfortunately for the Knicks, also a piece of Tim Hardaway, and will send Tim to the line with a half a minute to go in the first.
Now that's the first time in transition that Timmy just made up his mind that he was going to blow by the defenders. The Knicks' transition defense was excellent. They were all back. And you can see he's surveying right now. He didn't want the 3. He's taking it strong. Now Dudley is an outstanding shot blocker. Anytime he gets minutes, he's always in the top 10. But you can see the block was there, but he got him with his body.
Hardaway misses the free throw, and the Miami Heat going with 2 big acquisitions who performed well during the regular season. Clarence Weatherspoon and Terry Porter, 2 veterans, but they're going to need more than what they gave them. Weatherspoon with only 2 points in 19 minutes in game 1, and Porter not much better, 3 points in 24 minutes. They were big during the year off the bench for Riley.
Yeah, but that's how you win your division. You know what you had to get for your ball club. You overcame the injuries with Mashburn and Leonard and Terry Mills. Those 2 guys stepped up, played big, and end up winning your division, which was so important.
Here is Sprewell, who went backdoor against behind Askins, and gets fouled and will go to the line.
Now the pass was beautiful, delivered, a great catch, and then an acrobatic move by Sprewell to get the foul. Now just watch the back door. Now watch, see, he's being overplayed. He's going to reverse his man. There's the read, but now watch the pump, bring it back, hang in the air, and then still get off a high percentage shot.
Sprewell on the line, and he makes good on the first with 13.5 seconds to go in the first quarter. Mashburn comes back in the game, so the Heat have Marley, Weatherspoon, Mashburn, Porter, and Hardaway. It is not a big team, but it's a defensive-minded team, or an offensive-minded team, I should say, as the Heat get the ball, and Sprewell makes good on both.
See, you can play small against this Knicks group because you do not need a defender to play Dudley in the post. He's not going to post you up. Main thing for you is, how are you going? This is the guy that's got to step up.
And Porter, the 36-year-old veteran, hits the shot from the baseline, found an opening, and an 8-point lead for the Heat, and the crowd on its feet as the Knicks, who had 28 points in the first quarter on Saturday, held to only 15 here. And the Miami Heat, more to their liking, trailing in the series, but leading in the game. After 1 quarter, the Heat lead the Knicks by a score of 23-15. As we start the second quarter, and every game is different in the playoffs from game to game. How about the contrast in the shooting from game 1 to the first quarter tonight?
You always say that's when good coaches are going to tinker with the offense, defense, game plans, but then the talent must step up and be able to execute.
Patrick Ewing in the lineup for the Knicks as Sprewell misses the first shot of the second quarter. The Heat have Porter, Marley, Mourning, Mashburn and Weatherspoon.
Now the Knicks are quick out there now. They have Houston, Sprewell, and Camby in there. So this is a very, very quick unit, and Childs, an excellent defender at the point.
Childs is guarding Mashburn, a good ball handler, and they're wide open for three, but picked up was Sprewell as the buzzer sounds, and the clock expired, the 24-second clock, and Sprewell did a good job getting to Porter at the last second. The shot did not hit the rim, thus the 24-second clock violation.
Now with Ewing and Camby in there, the Miami guys, everyone must concentrate on the defensive boards.
Childs along with Sprewell, and Houston along with the two big people you just mentioned. Ewing did not have control of it, amazingly scores anyway over Mourning.
That was a very tough shot. Patrick was fading on that shot. It was a difficult pickup to get up at that area to release.
Lead is 6. Houston is defending against Marley. Camby on Weatherspoon. Camby and Sprewell, two of the more athletic people for the Knicks.
Missed the cutter. You can't miss the cutter.
4 on the shot clock, and the pass inside to Weatherspoon, and a foul as both Camby and Ewing were inside. And the foul will be against Camby.
So many players come out of college and they get to this level and they don't understand the difference. And the difference is that you don't have 35 seconds to get off a shot. You got 24 seconds here at this league level. And when guys come off of screens and they're open, you must deliver the ball when the guy is open. You don't have that many options after that to get a high percentage shot. And right there, you know, you could see it in the eyes of Mashburn. He was hot. That Weatherspoon missed him and was looking right at him and never delivered because he had an uncontested layup down the lane.
Charlie Ward back in the game, so the Knicks have Ward and Childs, their 2 point guards, in there together. Weatherspoon makes both free throws. An 8-point Miami lead, so the Knicks small in the backcourt, really small, with Sprewell, Ward, Childs, along with Camby and Ewing. An interesting combination for the Knicks. The shot was missed inside, and now the Miami Heat is Sprewell with 5 points. Mourning going around Ewing. Mashburn hits the 3, his second of the game.
There's no doubt about it. They can go around Ewing anytime they want, whether it's out of the post or out of the high. And you can take it all away, or that 3 in the right corner has been open the entire half.
Miami 2 of 3 from downtown. The Knicks have yet to connect. Here's Ewing against Mourning, clearing out for Patrick, who goes up, and Weatherspoon helped clear the ball away, and the Knicks get the offensive rebound as Childs misses, so the Knicks now 0 for 4 from beyond the arc. Mashburn inside. Witherspoon cannot connect, and a block by Patrick Ewing. Ewing had 4 blocks and 15 rebounds on Saturday. Childs can't get around Marley.
If people wanted a travel there in the NBA, you can fall like that.
Sprewell trying a 2-handed slam.
Oh, yes.
A block inside by Mourning. And Mashburn losing the ball out of bounds. So after that tremendous defensive play on the high wire act by Sprewell, by Alonzo Mourning, the Miami Heat turn it over.
Now, this is a great move by Sprewell, but how about this block? Not only, look at that, that is strong. At the other end, once again, Mashburn goes through his legs, behind his back, and they get nothing. Now, the basketball is right here, and they're going to feed into the post. Anytime the post people get the ball and put it on the floor and go by Patrick, you'll see Sprewell come over to intercept it. Unfortunately, that's been opening up this corner 3-point shot, and the Heat are taking advantage of it. All right, that's the second one which has come off of a pivot play where the player has gone by Ewing, and then the kick out, and they're hitting the threes.
QB, how long do the Knicks go with Ewing if they know that Mourning, whomever can go around him at will?
Yeah, but you see, it's all within the framework of your star player. You've got to see whether or not you can continue to compete. You're only 8 down. You know that you need him in the hole to go at Alonzo Mourning to potentially get the foul. And then, you know what he just said? Hey, Dick, you see what I just did now? I still got a little left in me.
Said that to me.
He did, yes.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
All right.
He was dropping his fingers and waving to you at the same time.
You're so lucky, Hubie. You're so lucky. 9-point lead with 8.5 minutes to go in the first half. Mashburn going right around Patrick Ewing. So now I come back and I say, everyone's going around him.
Yeah, well, on Saturday they went around him. They missed all the shots. He got 15 rebounds, 9 points.
No, he's a factor.
And did it, of course he is.
You know, Pat Riley said, even with all the athleticism, he says, we want the ball out of Ewing's hands. 7 on the shot clock for the Knicks, who are down by 11 points. A kick ball. And a new 24-second clock. Jeff Van Gundy, who played it low-key after that first game victory. And, of course, he's been around and knows that all it was one win, despite the fact that it was by a monster 20 points.
Jeff Van Gundy was an assistant with Stu Jackson, Don Nelson, John McLeod, you know, and Pat Riley. And then when he got his chance, just think of how many playoff games he's been on the bench with the Knicks, with this guy, Patrick Ewing, as your horse. Now, as you wanted to take him out here now, once again, why is he looking so mean at you over here at our table?
He'll be getting a little hot under the collar with this, I'll show you, attitude. Here is Hardaway hitting.
Boy,
Tim Hardaway with 5. Well, no, I'm not claiming he should be taken out, but I'm asking you what a coach would do.
No, we're only kidding.
Yeah. And, of course, he played for you. And
he's a very, very tough-minded player. He can play with a lot of pain. And right now you're going to milk this going on because he is your major post-up threat against Alonzo Mourning.
And he hits yet another one. 10 points for Patrick Ewing. And it is 32-23, a 9-point game. Ewing has hit 3 in a row. Maybe he is answering. Hardaway finds Weatherspoon, who finds an open space. The basket counts and a foul as Weatherspoon was hit on the elbow. And let's see if Camby gets called for the personal foul. He was defending Weatherspoon, and it is against Marcus Camby, his second personal.
See, when you watch this game here, both of these teams chart their players on the defensive end. They must challenge shots. So many non-challenges get you out of the game in a heartbeat.
Heat leading 34-23. And Mourning with 9, leading the Heat, and Patrick Ewing, who has 8 points here in the second quarter, has 10 for New York. Clarence Weatherspoon on the free throw line. Weatherspoon, who previously played with the Sixers and the Warriors. First time he's ever been with a winning team. And the Heat open up their biggest lead, 12, with under 7 minutes to go in the second quarter.
Witherspoon might only be 6'7", but he's got the long arms and he's tough, strong in the upper body. Excellent shot blocker.
Camby, with a athletic move, delayed his layup on a good feed from Charlie Ward. So Camby, who did not play early on, in fact, one game against Miami, sat totally early in March, and then was a big hero in the big comeback late in the year here at the arena as the Knicks beat the Heat. And Hardaway going around the screen, finding Mourning. Mourning is being set up beautifully.
Well, what happens now is, see, Timmy's not picking up his dribble. If he picked up his dribble, the Knick defense would be fine. But he's keeping his dribble, Dick. He's taking the double team long, and then he's finding the free man.
Here is Ewing. And a loose ball picked up by Camby. Sprewell working around. Mashburn in the basket, and an offensive foul is called against Sprewell. That'll be his second personal of the game.
I'll tell you, Nolan Fine has had some very tough calls to make tonight. He's been right on the money. That was an excellent call. Sprewell loves that floater. See, he likes to go halfway, the midpoint game, take off, and then float right into your chest.
Heat trying to even the best of 5 at 1-1. Game 3 will be Wednesday night at New York's Madison Square Garden. And a loose ball and a steal by Ward. 3-on-2 for the Knicks. Sprewell foul driving in.
They're going to be playing
and is hit hard.
Oh, they gave him 2. Danny Crawford.
Flagrant foul.
Yeah, they gave him 2.
You know, Sprewell was slammed by Alonzo Mourning on a breakaway layup in game 1 in the second quarter. It was a 3-point play, and as he was welcomed to Eastern Conference playoff basketball.
Yeah, now you know you're not going to get any of these uncontested layups in this game. We told you that right at the top. The key call right here is whether they were going to give you 2 and the ball on the side, but they are not. They're just calling it a hard foul.
So Sprewell, fouled by Porter, has taken a couple of hard knocks on drives to the hoop so far in the series.
Well, over the weekend, Dick, in some of the games, the refs have been very tough on this. You know, they're catching a hard foul. They're giving the guy the shots and taking the ball out on the side.
Sprewell has been the only Knick to go to the line tonight. He is 5 out of 6, so the Knicks have not been getting to the free throw line.
But we know that that's his game. See, that's what makes him such an explosive scorer. Even on nights when he's shooting a low percentage, he gets to the line.
The Miami Heat leading the New York Knicks by 10 with 5.5 to go in the second quarter. Hardaway with his first three-point shot attempt of the night misses, and Ewing goes high for the rebound. The Knicks driving with Childs feeding Camby, and a foul. And there is the Knick athleticism, which has taken over in a lot of respects from their former blue-collar half-court style with Oakley on hand. They still play that way, but they're a lot quicker now.
Well, with this group out on the floor, now they just took out Charlie Ward. Now, Charlie Ward's in the top 10 in steals. Now, when you have Childs and Ward out there, you're very quick in the backcourt defensively. Sprewell at small forward, can be a power forward. Jeff was looking for a run out of his defense. And then he knew that with this group on the floor, I'm going power with Patrick because he's on the mini run right now.
Jeff Van Gundy trying to match and in some cases get ahead of Pat Riley with substitutions. Weatherspoon will leave the game, and P.J. Brown, who scored 6 points in the first quarter, replaces him. Camby had 11 points and 6 rebounds in game number 1 and has really shown Van Gundy and his teammates that he finally has arrived. He has matured this year in a big way down the stretch. Mashburn faces the double team. Now Larry Johnson. Plenty of time on the shot clock for the Heat. Marley gets the ball back from Porter. Mashburn open. Mourning fighting for the loose ball, and they're going to call the foul on Chris Childs.
We told you early that Miami is a high percentage three-point shooting team. They're one of the best that we have in the league. They shoot it at 36%. Plus, they have a team that launches a ton. They take 16 a game. So when you have Porter, Marley, and Hardaway out on the floor, you always have to be paying attention.
Illegal defense, the first violation against the New York Knicks. Second will, of course, will result in a free throw.
If your man is above the top of the circle, you must be above the top of the foul line. And unfortunately for Larry Johnson, he was down in the painted area. Very easy to pick out.
Under 5 minutes to go, first half. Miami Heat leading virtually all the way in this first 2 quarters, and a pushing foul. Ewing pushes Mourning, and Patrick picks up his second.
Now, if you're really paying attention in this game tonight, the Knicks have changed their defensive post play. Up until right that play there, when the ball went into the post, they did not double team until you put the ball down on the floor. But now, once we've had that timeout where they were getting abused down on the post, now anytime Patrick's man makes a catch, they are coming right away to try to help him out.
Patrick Ewing goes out with 2 personals. Allen Houston replaces him. So the big Knick on the court right now is Camby along with Johnson. This is a very small Knick team.
Well, you have to go in here now with Zoe. Come on, he's got to take it.
Guarded by Larry Johnson, and the ball knocked away, and they're going to call the holding foul against Larry Johnson, his second, and the Knicks are over the limit, and Mourning will shoot a pair.
He can't even begin to play him down in there. First of all, he's given him too much size. Zoe has a ton of moves with his back to the basket. And if he puts it on the floor, you know that once he elevates, he's going up over the top of Johnson.
So Larry Johnson committing the foul. He is 6'7", and Camby 6'11", but a very thin 6'11", so a small team for New York. Mourning misses the first. NBA playoff action continues coming up at 8 o'clock on TNT. Game 2, Pistons and Hawks with Atlanta leading, followed by the Suns and Blazers, with Portland winning in that game. Kings and Jazz in Utah coming up next on TBS. That's all coming up on Turner Sports.
Now, this is the only weak point in Mourning's game. He gets to the line 9 times during the course of the season. And he always gets here 9 or 10 throughout his career. But he only shoots 65%. That's the only weak part of his game right now.
Knicks trailing the Heat by 9 points. Getting close to 4 minutes to go, and Marley.
Oh, my. Watch out for
Dan Marley is called for the foul. And Nolan Fine looked back on him and very nearly called the foul.
Now, you be the judge here. Now, you're going to see Houston. Keep an eye on his pivot foot now. His pivot foot, see, he lifted his pivot foot. Right there, that was a travel. He lifted his pivot foot and the ball was not out of his hand. Dan, jump in that front row of the stands again. Let's see if Nolan will hit you with a tee the next time.
Ron Culp, the trainer for the Miami Heat, out on the floor and looking at the elbow, and there might be a cut on the right arm of Alonzo Mourning, and he has to come out of the game while they tend to it. Clarence Weatherspoon will check in for him.
You have to pay attention now. Zoe's not in there to board for you.
Childs inbounds. Got Larry Johnson, Camby, Houston, and Sprewell. This is a small team, but a quick team for the Knicks.
Up until now, Marley has done an excellent job on Allen. Excellent.
He struggled in game 1 against Houston, but he has come back big defensively in this first half. Camby going strong, finding Johnson, and Marley comes in, knocks it away. Camby comes back. And the Heat have it, but it was Marley who made the big defensive play inside. 9-point Miami lead. They've led by as many as 12 here in the first half. Brown posting up on a high post guarded by Larry Johnson. Mourning out of the game right now, and a foul called against Sprewell, and that's 3 on Sprewell.
Well, the fans are very happy because they know the guy who's the thorn in this series is going to be this guy right here. Because when he is on his game, he gives this team high energy. And also because of his incredible quickness defensively, he gets the Knicks out on the break with deflections, and then he can finish at the end against your small forward.
He has 7 points on only 1 of 5 shooting thus far, but the 7 points are second to Patrick Ewing's 10. Ewing on the bench with 2 fouls, and now Jeff Van Gundy will bring in the big guy again as Mashburn connects on his first free throw. Alonzo Mourning now has the right arm repaired, and he'll come back into the game replacing Weatherspoon.
Now both coaches would like their star guys, meaning Mourning and Ewing, to get through the last 3:30 without picking up a third. That will help them in strategy in the second half.
Mashburn, this is the second, but Mourning gets the loose ball. Under 3.5 minutes to go here in the first half. Mourning working against Ewing, takes him strong, and a foul inside. And for Camby, that is his third. So the Knicks have definite foul trouble in their 2 athletic young players. Sprewell with 3. Camby picks up his third personal as well, and that'll send Alonzo to the line.
Yeah, well, you know, they're really ticky-tack fouls and poor judgment by the players because it's unnecessary. The last 2 that have been picked up here, one by Camby and one by Sprewell. Come on, play the clock. The Knicks are doing a great job trapping off the screen and roll. Unfortunately, Mourning is rolling out and spotting up. When the pass is coming back to him, they're relying on Ewing to rotate back. He just cannot do that.
Chris Dudley checks in for Marcus Camby, who leaves the game having scored 3 points and has 3 personal fouls. 3:20 to go in the first half. And the Heat now lead by 12, again matching their biggest lead. Miami 10 of 15 from the line. 3:15 to go, and the Knicks trying to get it under 10 if they can before intermission. Chris Childs. Dudley now moving outside to set a screen. Double team on Childs. Dudley's open, not an offensive threat at all. So Ewing and Dudley, 2 7-footers in the game. Ewing working against P.J. Brown. And Mourning winds up with it. The Heat can open up their biggest lead of the game. Mashburn has it knocked away by Larry Johnson. Gets it back. Mourning. And the Heat lead 42-28. Their biggest lead.
Well, they're playing right now with a lot of confidence. Mainly the Knicks have helped them because of their inability to get any good looks. Very few good looks at the Knicks end of the floor tonight, Dick. You got to like the defensive preparation by Miami for the first half.
58% shooting, too, for the Heat.
The NBA playoffs on TDS. Brought to you by the all-new Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most capable sport utility ever. Jeep, there's only one. And by the Home Depot, home of the low price guarantee.
Miami has its biggest lead of the night. Alonzo Mourning has 15, and he credits his wife, Tracy, with off-season encouragement that enabled him to put together this MVP-type year. When sifting through the ambers of last year's disastrous playoff loss, Alonzo Mourning said it was his wife who gave him the encouragement. After being kicked out of Game 4 and also being suspended from Game 5, he felt he had let down not only his teammates, but the entire city. Dick?
Thank you very much, Craig. And Tracy, a great influence, as you say, as Alonzo Mourning has really kept his cool this year. And they need him on the floor, not on the bench in the big game. Here is Houston is stripped of the ball. And the Miami Heat get it back.
Now that time, Dan Marley was behind as Houston came off of a staggered screen and then had the ability to get in there and deflect that ball.
And the ball knocked out of bounds, last touch by Mourning. The Knicks in Game 1 led 28-18 after 1 quarter of play. And now with 2 minutes to go in the first half, they have 28 points. So they have as many points almost in a half as they did in the first quarter.
Well, we have seen this, during the course of the season. That's the problem with the team. They're Jekyll and Hyde. You just have no idea what's going to happen, who's coming out.
Under 2 minutes to go.
But we still have to play 48.
Mourning foul, driving strong to the basket, or Ewing, I should say, and Patrick will shoot a pair as both teams in the penalty.
At the offensive end of the floor, the Achilles problem definitely is not hindering Ewing in his moves. He's been very quick on his spin moves. He's been very quick getting into the lane with the dribble. It is definitely not affecting him on the range of his jump shot. Where it affects him is when he defends and his lateral movement. After one step, it's over.
You know, Ewing seems to be hobbling less in this game than I saw him in Game 1. And he has gotten some rest from time to time. The Knicks now with Ward, Childs, Houston, Dudley, and Ewing. Patrick misses the second free throw. And now the Miami Heat leading by 13. Hardaway is the point guard with Marley, Brown, Mashburn, and Alonzo Mourning. Ward falls down, and Hardaway misses from the perimeter, so he doesn't have the range yet.
Oh, good.
Gambles for the steal against Childs. Dudley foul. Well, that'll send Dudley to the line, and he is 48% from there in the regular season.
We know that Dudley has stayed in this league for many, many a year. Out of Yale, he's been in here now for over 11 seasons. The reason, rebounding, shot blocking, a great team player. He's going to do all of the little things to benefit his ball club.
But they did not teach free throw shooting at Yale, although he makes the free throw. Coming up on the AT&T halftime, scores and highlights from around the league. Join Kenny Smith, Ernie Johnson, and our guest, Bill Lane Beer. Good to see Bill back in our studios. One of the bad boys.
He might have been a bad boy, but he had an incredible career and one of the really great team leaders, along with Isaiah Thomas, for any team that plays a team sport.
Talk about the pick and spot up. Bill Lane Beer.
Attendance. Look at his attendance throughout his career.
Porter. And the rebound by Ewing. 11-point lead, and the Knicks have a chance to get it under double digits before intermission. Ewing wants the ball. Posting up. Ewing with a fall away, and it's off the rim, knocked out of bounds by the Knicks.
Now, Mourning got away with the left hand right on the hip. Patrick is looking for the call. Mourning defensed him perfectly. That left hand was right on the hip, and as Patrick elevated, he gave them the necessary play.
Under a minute to go. There's the time remaining. 12 on the shot clock. Dudley giving Mourning the shot. He'll take it, and he'll hit it. Alonzo Mourning, 7 of 8 from the field, has 17 points. 8 here in the second quarter.
At the time, you did ask about him, whether he was going to get 27 again.
That's a lot of questions. Yeah. And a lot of them are being answered.
Yes, by the way, what a ball game he's having. He's 2 for 2, though.
And coming around the screen, Dan Marley committing his 3rd foul on Allen Houston.
Now, this is the center feeling it. Anytime that you see the center step to the top of the circle, they all love it out there. But then again, you have to make it. Got to give him a lot of credit. He has stepped up big. We know that he's had a sensational season. 1st in blocks, 4th in field goals, 6th in rebounds, 14 in scoring. And the guy who has really carried this club, because when you win a division, and your second leading scorer does not have his typical type of year, meaning Timmy Hardaway, you know that a lot of pressure was on Alonzo to play big for the entire year.
And Craig talked to Tracy and talked about Tracy Morning, and she really had the courage to tell her husband, you've got to really keep your cool. A lot of wives wouldn't necessarily do that. She did. He listened, and it's paid off. 20 seconds to go, 12 on the shot clock. Hardaway finding Weatherspoon, shooting over Ewing, and hits.
Okay, Timmy's not giving up his dribble. See, that's the key when you play the Knicks. You cannot allow them to intimidate you when you come off the screen and roll and pick up your dribble.
6 assists for Hardaway. Here is Dudley going in and scoring.
Yes.
What a touch by Chris Dudley with 5.5 to go. An 11-point game. As time running out, Askins from 3 off the glass. And the Miami Heat, who are leading by 8 points after 1, will take an 11-point lead into intermission.
By the way, the coach at Yale said I was working on his jump hook, not his foul shot.
You're just on the phone with him, I'm sure. 46-35, Miami at halftime.
The AT&T Halftime Report was brought to you by AT&T. It's all within your reach.
And welcome back to Glittering Miami as the 1999 NBA playoffs continue as the Heat and Knicks game 2 of their best-of-5 series. And Alonzo Mourning picking up where he left off after 27 points in game 1. 7 of 8 shooting from the field. Great hustle. 5 rebounds, 17 points. Mourning still the head man for the Miami Heat. And all of that to the delight of his lovely wife, Tracy, cheering him on here at the Miami Arena. So at halftime, the Miami Heat looking to even the series at 1-1, lead the New York Knicks by a score of 46-35. And a contrast not only on the scoreboard, but in shooting as well, as the Knicks, who were 53%, shooting under 40, and the Heat, who couldn't get on track, now a gaudy 55%. For the Knicks, Hubie talked about the big three who shot so well in game 1. Johnson, Houston, and Sprewell. They are only 5 of 16 so far tonight. So we're looking at some of the problems, Hubie, that the Knicks are having, but where are the Miami Heat going to town? Alonzo Mourning, and of course he's getting some help.
Yeah, the front court, Dick, just doing an outstanding job. When you say that your front court has 32 out of the first 46 points, you know that it's there. Timmy Hardaway is not scoring. He's only 1 for 5, but he has the 6 assists, and he's stretching the defense off the screen and rolls, and then the penetration, hitting people for threes. It's really a beautiful half for Miami.
And we know that Pat Riley's teams always seem to come back after big setbacks in game 1. Right now, let's check in with Craig Sager.
Well, Dick Hubie, you talked in that first half about the Knicks not getting very good looks at the basket. I just talked to Jeff Van Gundy. He took one look at the stat sheet. He said we only had 5 assists the entire half. We had only 12 baskets. He said, this is terrible. Guys are not going down. We're settling for jump shots. If you remember last Saturday, they had 21 field goals by intermission. Tonight, only 12. As for their defense, he said they're back on the heels. They're getting beat by the dribble penetration, particularly from Jamal Mashburn. And also, they're not playing very good defense on zone. Yuck, Hubie.
All right, Craig, thank you very much. Patrick Ewing playing 19 minutes, 5 of 10 shooting, 6 rebounds, has 11 points. Latrell Sprewell is next with 7, but keep in mind that Sprewell has 3 personal fouls. For the Miami Heat, we've already chronicled Alonzo Mourning's 17 points, and Hubie talked about the rest of that very potent front court for them. And Weatherspoon off the bench with 7 points, and Hardaway has 5. So it's been a very solid first half for the Miami Heat.
Dick, when you look at the playing of the game in regards to passing the basketball, turnovers, each team only has 5 turnovers. So they're maximizing their shot attempts. The next factor is in offensive rebounding, both teams are taking care of their defensive boards. We only have a combined 6 offensive rebounds for both teams. So the initial game plan is solid, but the big thing right now, Jeff Van Gundy, they've got to get better looks at the basket for their perimeter people, and then also can Miami continue this front line distribution of points.
Knicks have the ball first. As we mentioned, Sprewell and Camby each with 3 fouls. Dan Marley has 3 for the Miami Heat. Marley is on the floor right now as the Knicks with Charlie Ward missing the shot from outside. Knicks with Ward, Houston, Ewing, Larry Johnson, and Kurt Thomas. Brown starts the second half off. P.J. Brown.
You just love it because these guys are moving the basketball. They're finding the free people. P.J. Brown now 4 for 7 from the field. You just wish that the Knicks at this end, when they throw in and the guy throws the ball out, if there's plenty of time on the clock, repost the man and go right back down inside.
Here is Kurt Thomas missing long range. So the Knicks' first 2 attempts are perimeter shots, not even looking inside.
No, you see, and you can get that. You get that shot with 3 or 4 seconds on the shot clock.
Deflection by Ward, and Charlie Ward will put it up and score. Mourning came back, tried to get a piece of it, and
they might have hurt
himself as he slowly walks up court.
They're right. Charlie Ward changed his direction that time, came right in front of Alonzo. Alonzo tried not to hit him with his body.
11-point lead for the Heat, and Hardaway very nearly has it knocked away by Ward. Low post, Mashburn against Larry Johnson. They bump, and Mashburn misses the shot. Knicks with a chance, trying to narrow it. At one point, it looked like they might get it under double digits at intermission, and the Heat pulled away to their 11-point lead. Their biggest margin has been 14. Houston driving, loses the ball. Nowhere to go with it. And here's Marley on a drive. Larry Johnson committing the foul, and a good one by Johnson.
See, Allen Houston is 1 for 6. Sprewell 1 for 5. And they are not getting, coming off of the staggered screens, a catch and an open shot. The defense tonight by Marley has been outstanding on these people coming off of staggered screens.
Larry Johnson committing his 3rd personal foul. He scored only 6 points in the first half after a rousing 15 points on 3 for 4 long-range 3-point shooting in game 1. Marley making 1 free throw, and that's his first point of the game.
Yeah, see, the people are a little exasperated. The team is only 11 for 17 on the line. They've already missed 6. That's why you're hearing that drawing.
The lob from Ward into Ewing, and it's knocked out of bounds by Patrick, who tries to appeal to Bernie Fryer to no avail, and you can see the disgust on the face of Jeff Van Gundy as the Knicks turn it over twice in a row. Hardaway trying to be overplayed, dribble it off his foot. 8 on the shot clock, and Hardaway and the pushing foul. Kurt Thomas picking up his 3rd foul, so the Knicks now have 4 players with 3 personal fouls.
Now all Timmy is doing here, he's just trying to create something because Ward has given him problems here at the beginning of this quarter. He has now caused a deflection. Now once again, that is the 3rd bad foul by Kurt Thomas. He's taking himself out of this game.
He has yet to score after an impressive game 1. Mashburn doesn't go, and Ewing gets the rebound. Patrick Ewing has 8 rebounds to go along with his 11 points. 12-point lead for the Miami Heat. It's been that margin, 9 to 14 most of this game. Larry Johnson baseline against P.J. Brown. Out to Houston, blocked by Mourning. Alonzo Mourning with another block. That's his 3rd.
He's just had a super season. He covers not only his man, but he covers everyone else's man.
And nobody covered Mashburn driving in.
22nd timeout. Good call right now by Van Gundy. Reason, you've settled for 2 jump shots. You have a couple of turnovers. You're not going to your movement. That's why you beat the Heat in the last game in New York last Wednesday. You beat them in game 1 because of excellent movement and spacing. We are not seeing that this evening.
And that timeout comes at the point that the Miami Heat tie their biggest lead of the game, leading now 51 to 37.
Now we're going to show Zoe from a defensive end. You see, he just leaves this man, comes in to help out a player who's been beaten off the dribble, and then you just start to break and you hope that something good will happen for you at the other end. Now this is Mashburn blowing by his man. Now in the early part of the game, any time that he penetrated, went by the defender, the Knicks were right there on their rotation. But right now, good timeout by Jeff Van Gundy. He's got to talk to the troops now about physical effort here.
Well, everything that worked for the Knicks, especially in the shooting department, has gone the other way so far in this game. And the Heat shooting a lot better, as you kind of figured they would. And playing a lot more aggressively than the Knicks. Morning staying on Houston. Ewing is open, but Ward trying to force the pass inside. And Mashburn gets the piece of it, but it was a bad pass inside with the Heat just covering the postman. Mashburn playing one-on-one again against Larry Johnson and misses the shot. So Mashburn misses, and the Knicks at the other end. Hardaway alertly knocks it away from Larry Johnson. The Knicks will have the ball with 20 on the shot clock. Good hustle tonight by Hardaway and Mourning to get back.
Yeah, they've been doing a solid job in their transition defense. Everybody sacrificing and getting back.
Off the pass in, Houston misses, still struggling from the field tonight at 1 for 7. And Marley had a chance for the lay-in and was repelled.
He tried to come up on the other side because Ewing was right there for the shot block.
Knicks trying to get on track. They are totally out of sync right now, but as Allen Houston goes in the air, he is pushed by Jamal Mashburn, and that is the third on Mashburn.
Good foul because it happened early. The defender knew that he was beaten badly. He saw that the rotation was not there, so he fouls before the offensive player, could get in and get a potential three-point play.
Knicks with only 3 points in nearly 4 minutes of action here in the third quarter. And Allen Houston now with 5 points. So Johnson, Houston not scoring as well as they did in the first game by a wide margin, and only 1 of 2 from the line for Houston.
I think the disappointment, Dick, is in the fact that the Knicks are making very, very poor decisions with the basketball with 15 or more seconds on the shot clock.
Hardaway going up, gets the rebound and foul. And the comment you just made about the decisions is emblematic of the kind of way they played this entire season. At one point they looked like they were going to be world beaters, and then you wondered if they were going to make the playoffs.
Now this guy, this is what the people want to see. They want to see him break down the defense off the dribble. And we know that he's fearless. He'll stay inside, get on the offensive glass, and then take it into the chest of the shot blockers.
Patrick Ewing chalking up his third personal foul. So the starting front court for the Knicks: Larry Johnson, Kurt Thomas, and Patrick Ewing, all with 3 personal.
One of the toughest things for a guard in the NBA to do is to average over 20 points and 10 assists. Now, Kevin Johnson at Phoenix did it on 3 occasions. This guy on the foul line has done it twice in his career. 20 points and over 10 assists during the season. He has the total factor.
Whereas Hardaway, as you mentioned, suffered a hyperextended bruised knee late February and has had lingering effects, although Pat Riley doesn't want to use any excuses. But when Hardaway has a bad game, as he did on Saturday, immediately people start talking about that injury. Illegal defense against the Miami Heat. That's their first violation. So Pat Riley, who declared we are resilient and will resurface, you have to take him at his word with 7:32 to go here in the third quarter.
Yeah, but you know yourself, this is an NBA game. Now, if it was 7:32 in the fourth quarter, we would still be saying there's plenty of time.
That's why I say thus far. Allen Houston pulls up and hits. Houston only his second field goal of the game, and the Heat lead is 12.
I got to give Dan Marley a lot of credit, though. I'll tell you, he's been fighting hard through the screens, and he's challenged him on all of his shots. Now, can Marley keep up this type of an effort, you know, for this full 40-some-odd minutes that he's going to be on the floor?
Interesting that Marley did not practice at all this year. He had various injuries, and he has fought back from them gamely. Lately, of course, he has the fractured pinky in the right hand, which may affect his shooting. But he kind of has been setting the tone tonight for the Heat.
The NBA playoffs on TBS. Brought to you by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. You don't have to live thirsty. Life is a sport. Drink it up. And by E-Trade, the #1 place to invest online.
Not far from the Miami Arena, maybe a quarter of a mile at the most, is the American Airlines Arena, the future home of the Miami Heat. They will still play here at the Miami Arena the first 2 months of next season before they move into their new building. And as we mentioned, they fell short of the sellout on Saturday by only 164, but it was officially not a sellout. Tonight, the place is packed. The Heat leading, trying to even the best-of-5 series at a game apiece, and Jamal Mashburn dribbles it off his foot out of bounds. And the Knicks get it back down by 12 and a lot of time to go here in the third.
Yeah, see, he's careless with the basketball. And by that's almost his third turnover off of a high dribble. When he goes to beat a man, you'll see that ball get up above his waist.
That was off his thigh.
Pretty,
Ewing
pretty.
on a great feed from Charlie Ward. And Ewing now with 13 points, his first of the second half, and the Knicks have it down to 10.
Yeah, you know they'll make a run. You know, that's the way these two teams play. In 3 of the games this year, the games were decided by a total of 7 points.
Brown feeding Mourning, no basket, offensive foul is the call against P.J. Brown, his third personal.
See, in there they have the dotted lines. It's called the restraining area. And if you are in front of the restraining area and a player comes down in there, no question about it. An easy call to make.
Well, let's see if the Knicks do make a run here on the Miami Heat. Houston goes around Marley. Ewing is left open. In and out. Ewing was open and could have brought the Knicks to within 8, but the Heat come back. Brown a bit quiet right now, sort of in a low as the Heat are, but P.J. Brown, who is sharp at the beginning now in double figures with 10 points. 5 for 8 from the field, and again a 12-point bulge for the Heat.
Now P.J. has that medium jump shot game, and you know Patrick cannot get up on it.
Houston finding Kurt Thomas. Ewing with the offensive rebound, fouled, and very alertly Ewing knew the defense coming right at him, got it up in a hurry to get either the basket or the foul or both.
Patrick got away with the pushing foul to open up that daylight to get the rebound in the first place. It should happen right down here in the lower left-hand corner where he already had pushed the man under the backboard.
Patrick Ewing, who had 15 rebounds in game 1, has 11 thus far tonight.
You know, Patrick throughout his career averaged 23.5 points a game. This year he's down to 17. Now the reason is also not only does he have the problem with the Achilles, but for all the games that he missed a year ago, over 30 because of the wrist. So we know that all of this must come together next year if he's going to have a banner season.
No question. Missed 12 games in 4 of the last 7. So he slowed down toward the finish. 5 on the shot clock. Hardaway driving to the hoop. Good feed out to P.J. Brown. Air ball as the clock expires, as Brown's shot came up empty. So with 5:26 to go, and the Miami Heat giving the Knicks an opportunity to cut into their lead.
Yeah, the bench right over there, everybody's encouraged. You know, everyone was up clapping on that play because they know that they called that timeout to re-energize the ball club, and they are getting it. And this guy right here looks like a different guy.
Houston. Ewing taps it away, and the Miami Heat get it back. So the Knicks right now unable to really cash in on the chances they're getting on missed shots and turnovers as Terry Porter comes back in the game, and how valuable he has been. A big play warrior is the way Pat Riley called him when we talked to him this year.
Well, 23 minutes a game, comes in, gets you 10 points, shoots a high percentage 3, shoots over 80 on the line, and he's an excellent defender.
Mashburn loses the ball on the dribble once again.
I'm telling you, they've got to be careful with him.
Ward to Johnson, and Larry Johnson, and tell you, Charlie Ward making some thread-the-needle passes, and a 20-second timeout called by Pat Riley. It is a 9-point lead as the Knicks, who were down by as many as 14, have cut it to 9 on a 7-2 run here.
So you can say right now, see, in the playoffs, a lot of guys who do not handle the ball a lot during the year, sometimes they're forced into situations where they've got to dribble to break the defense down. Then they get that contact, and they're saying, hey, I just got fouled. Whoa, wait a second. That's not even a foul during the regular season. Never mind now at playoff time. You're going to get raped and stripped. Now, this is just a good decision, once again, by Charlie White. Charlie's having an excellent night tonight in distributing the basketball and also gambling. He has 5 assists. Now, the offensive game is not there, but one thing with him, he's not going to force shots.
Well, late in the season, and even in the last regular season game between these two, Charlie Ward's assist-to-turnover ratio a lot better than it has been early.
Well, they like what he's done. You see, the big thing with point guards if you know that the guy isn't a big scorer, you just don't want him to be shooting with 12 to 14 seconds on the clock when you can still exhaust the rest of your continuity and put pressure on their defense.
And a pushing foul, and let's see, Kurt Thomas has picked up his 4th foul, and he's walking away from Bernie Fryer, and apparently that is it. Thomas picks up his 4th personal foul, and all of them have been similar, haven't they?
Yeah, now right here, you're going to see he's fighting up over the top. He's not going to allow the post-up to happen, and he's using that form. And people say, oh, take away Alonzo's spot. Like it's easy. Right? You have to be
go out there and do it, right?
That's right.
He remains in the game, and he's fronting Alonzo Mourning, who has to pass it out to Porter, and Porter hits the 3. So Terry Porter, who came up empty, 0 for 3 from downtown in game number 1, gives Miami the 12-point lead again.
And Terry Porter's a 41% shooter in threes. He didn't even hesitate.
Larry Johnson left open for the shot, and he hits a 3, and that is the first 3-point basket for the Knicks tonight.
Now, Larry Johnson, during the course of the year, you know, he launched over 90. He made 33. He was out here early tonight, 2 hours before the game, working with the ball boy on his 3-point release. And when he made the shot, he also had something to say to the first row spectators over there.
He loves playing here and playing against the Heat. Mashburn very nearly stepped on the line. And the Knicks coming back down by 9 points. Charlie Ward in traffic.
Pretty.
And Johnson alertly double-teamed. Sets it up. Guarded by Mashburn with 11 on the shot clock. Larry Johnson goes up and scores. And the Knicks have cut it to 7 with 3:09 to go.
Pat Riley's got to make a decision here with Mashburn, because Mashburn right now is costing him, you know, quality possession. Not only with the turnovers, but also with the bad shots. So right now, this is a big decision time for Riley.
11 points for Mashburn, but that's deceiving. Here is Mourning, strong to the basket, loses it, spun away, and Patrick Ewing got a piece of it, and a kick ball, and the Knicks will have a new clock.
Excellent defense that time by Porter. Now just keep an eye here on Larry Johnson. Now he's going to give him a little shoulder move and then step right around him to his left. Nice move. Stepped inside. Mashburn goes for the head fake.
The 7-point deficit is the closest the Knicks have come since they trailed by 6 in the first minute of the second quarter. Larry Johnson has scored the last 7 Knick points, now up to 13 points. No surprise the way he has played against Miami. His season's high, 23 late in the year here at the Miami Arena. 10 offensive rebounds against Miami. He has exceeded his points and rebounds against this team, and you know that Alonzo Mourning's presence may have an effect in that. But anyway, Larry Johnson comes up big against the Heat. Ward will inbound. It's a 7-point game.
All right, now right now they put P.J. Brown on Larry Johnson.
Allen Houston dribbles it off the foot, out of bounds, turns it over to the Heat.
Now the reason why I brought that out is Pat Riley just took Mashburn off of Larry Johnson, and he has P.J. Brown on him, who he feels is an excellent defender, 6'11", long arms, good shot blocker. Just try to contain him right now. He's hoping that Mashburn will come out of the funk right now and get going from the offensive end.
Ward is guarding Porter, picked up by Thomas on the switch. Thomas playing with 4 personal fouls. Mourning going strong against Ewing. Good defense by Ewing. Porter hitting a shot. Terry Porter now with 7 points, and the Heat lead by 9.
Now that was a beautiful catch, ball fake. Charlie Ward leaves his feet, step inside, in your face.
Marley all over Houston, who has scored 7 points tonight. Far cry from game 1. Houston, good ball movement by the Knicks, and Larry Johnson misses the 3, but the long rebound comes out to Ward.
Well, the majority of times when you miss a 3, the ball will go out past the foul line area.
Under 2 minutes to play here in the third quarter. Kurt Thomas goes out. Ward will fire a 3 and hit. So Charlie Ward hitting a three. He was at 36% during the regular year, and the Knicks trailed by 6.
Now, Charlie during the year attempted 148, so you know he can shoot them and make them. Right now, it's interesting what they're doing because Kurt Thomas can't get it going at the power forward position, but he's getting the double team, and he's kicking and finding the free guy.
Here is Mourning again against Ewing. And again, Ewing does a great job. Mourning crashing the boards, and a foul called against the Heat. Tell you, Patrick Ewing has held his ground the last 2 trips down against Alonzo Mourning. And P.J. Brown, meanwhile, picking up his 4th personal foul.
Now examine the Miami offense in this quarter. Alonzo Mourning has had very few catches. He has not been the #1 priority. And yet, when we're talking about halftime, we're talking about a guy who had 17 points. Now, he did not have many catches where he was caught, made a move, double teamed, and even kicked out. So you have to also keep looking at that as one reason why they're not scoring.
Ashburn and Brown lead. Brown with 4 fouls, replaced by Weatherspoon and Tim Hardaway. Allen Houston with a turnaround.
See, he feels it, man.
Yes, he does. And the Knicks trailing by 4 with under a minute to go in the 3rd quarter, coming back and making their run.
That's why at halfway through this quarter, we kept bringing out the point. Can Marley keep it up? Well, right now, Allen Houston is starting to dominate in that matchup.
Allen Houston with 9 points. Porter guarded by Sprewell, who has come in, and a reach-in foul called against Thomas, who slams the floor, and very fortunate he did not get a technical.
Well, he's all upset with himself because that's his 5th foul, and all 5 of them have been questionable in why he did what he did. Now, you're behind the man. Now, see, that's just a bad move because you already conceded the bad positioning by playing behind him initially. That pass was going in there.
Either you foul him and Mourning goes to the line for 2, or Mourning beats you easily to the hoop on the gambit. So Alonzo Mourning, who is 0 for 2 from the field here in the quarter, looking for his 1st point of the 2nd half.
Now, we understand that Alonzo Mourning is a tough cover. We are not trying to minimize how difficult it is for Thomas to play Alonzo Mourning. But once you commit and play behind, you cannot gamble and get around because he's going to get that call every time.
Good observation a few moments ago about Marley guarding Houston. Marley has just been taken out of the game, so Pat Riley saw the same thing you did. Keith Askins takes his place. Alonzo hits his 2nd free throw, 19 in the game, and the Heat lead 61 to 55. 19 on the shot clock. You can see how much time remains here in the 3rd quarter. And a foul called against the Knicks, and that will be against Ewing, and that is 4 on Patrick.
See, Patrick tried to set a screen for Sprewell in the lane to open him up to come to the left side of the floor. But Patrick slipped, and they had a confrontation with the defender on Sprewell.
Knicks were down by as many as 14. Cut it down. And here it is.
Oh, yeah.
Goaltending called. Porter will get credit for the basket.
Plus, he got popped in the eye, in the left eye. And see, Porter can finish with either hand as he goes down line. Now, they have to be careful. He only have 16 seconds.
And the Heat will call a timeout.
I see Pat Riley did not want the timeout.
And it's called, and I think they called it because of Terry Porter.
Oh, they definitely called it because of him, no doubt about it. Now, just keep an eye on Terry Porter. He's excellent going to his left. He can finish with either hand. That's why you can play Hardaway and he together, because as the off guard. Now, as this ball reaches its height, it just starts to dip as Ewing gets it. Unfortunately for Patrick, he was late. But then Terry Porter got popped right in that left eye. Now, you can see he's smarting right now. Now, by Alonzo Mourning calling that timeout, you look at the clock, you say 16 seconds. Could Terry have sucked it up? Because now Miami only has 3 timeouts remaining.
Yeah, they may need those down the stretch of this game. So the Knicks will send out Allen Houston, Latrell Sprewell, Patrick Ewing, Charlie Ward, and Larry Johnson who inbounds as the Knicks play for the last shot. They had cut the Miami lead to 4, and then the Heat come back to score 4 points themselves.
High screen.
It's all over. Mourning is way on the outside covering Sprewell. Loose ball, and it's Knicks ball with 1.5 seconds here in the quarter.
Now you're fine. You can make a catch here and get off a shot.
Ward will inbound.
One thing now, do not allow a player to get to the front of the rim for a lob pass.
They're going to go that way.
Yes, indeed.
And Haskins
they
blocks
get
Allen
away with
Houston.
it.
Keith Haskins on a block on Allen Houston that ends the quarter. And the Miami Heat, withstanding to this point the run by the New York Knicks, and will take an 8-point lead into the final quarter.
Now keep an eye right to the right of your screen. You're going to see Allen is ahead of his man. Now there is the shot block, but Allen wanted the chest on my back. I wanted 2 for that move.
63-55 after 3.
Miami up by 8. And Minnesota Viking All-Pro receivers Randy Moss and Chris Carter on opposite ends have to be separated by their teammate Matthew Hatchett. You're yelling for the Knicks. He's a homeboy for the Heat. What's going to happen here in the fourth quarter?
Man, hey, they came back from 20 last time. They're down 8 in the fourth quarter. Hope they can pull it through.
How do you put up with him yelling for the Knicks in your own town?
He would root for anybody that I'm rooting for. You know, he's rooting against me all the time. So I'm a hometown. I'm going for the Heat. The Heat going to pull it out to tie the series 1-1.
Give him some.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I'm the referee in this.
All right, let's go back to Dick and Hubie.
Weatherspoon is fouled going in. I'll tell you, very interesting that Randy Moss, who is a good friend and a teammate of Jason Williams, the Sacramento Kings rookie backcourt performer at Marshall before Williams transferred to the University of Florida. Both were very close, played basketball together, and you'll see Williams and the rest of the Sacramento Kings go against the Utah Jazz coming up next on TBS, with Utah leading in the series 1-0. I want to remind you that Chris Carter's older brother Butch will be on TNT later tonight. All sorts of synergy and a family tree and friends going in this one.
In the first quarter, in the first half, there it is right there. Sprewell, Camby, and Houston were held silent. But in this half, Houston is really making himself big in this game. And now Sprewell and Camby are back on the floor.
8-point lead as a great pass. Hardaway looping it in, and when the Knicks front Alonzo Mourning, you can get in trouble big time.
Well, they're looking for Camby to rotate down, Dick. He was late on that rotation.
The Knicks have Charlie Ward with Sprewell with the ball, Johnson, Camby, and Allen Houston in the lineup. Good spin move by Sprewell, and he's fouled. Terry Porter, getting called for the personal foul, will send Sprewell to the free throw line.
And remember, the NBA is all about matchups. As soon as Sprewell came in this game, they knew that they could post him immediately. Sprewell took Porter right down inside in the last 2 possessions, and right now he has a chance, to come out of this with 4 points. The big factor right now is, what does Pat Riley do? Do they stay with this matchup, Porter on Sprewell?
Sprewell missed his first free throw and has hit the rest since. A good one, as Hubie mentioned, as he connects on the first. Chris Childs comes into the game, replacing Charlie Ward. Childs, according to Jeff Van Gundy, a tougher defender against Hardaway, closer to the basket than Ward is. Ward is better when Hardaway is going for the three-point shot.
Well, Childs is bigger, stronger, and is known better as not only a good defender, but also can score and a very high percentage three-point shooter.
Haskins going deep low to Mourning, kicked out. 4 on the shot clock, and Porter looking for a room, fires it up, and it's knocked away by Camby, and the Heat get the ball back in a fresh clock.
Yeah, they need to get it rolling right here, because Alonzo Mourning must take advantage of the matchup with Larry Johnson.
Miami by 8, 9 it is, trying to even the series, and they do, and that time it was Weatherspoon, and they're finding Alonzo Mourning easily tonight in many occasions. 23 points for Zoe.
Well, you would be on your team unmercifully if you were not taking advantage of that. Larry Johnson is giving away too much with Alonzo Mourning.
Porter remains on Sprewell. Sprewell backing in. Houston getting it to Chris Childs. Larry Johnson shooting over Weatherspoon for a 3. And the rebound into the hands of Hardaway.
See, there's that long rebound out to the foul line. Oh, boy.
And Sprewell on the turnover, and Houston loses it. Now it's a up-tempo, helter-skelter game that we see here in the opening moments of the fourth quarter. kickball and a new clock for the New York Knicks.
We have a lot of athletes out there right now, a lot of greyhounds, but we have a lot of bad bastards.
Miami Heat leading by 11 early here in the fourth quarter. The Knicks only had the lead once tonight. That was at 8-7. Miami has led all the way, really. 14-point lead, but the Knicks got it down to 4 points with a minute to go. Now, what have the Miami Heat done to really open up that margin again?
Well, you're finding your horse, and your horse has a mismatch right now, and that's Alonzo Mourning being played by Larry Johnson. Now, Camby can play that power forward all he wants, but his rotation has been too far to cover, and he has not been able to help out on these easy plays by Mourning. At the other end, Terry Porter has got a monster job here right now with Sprewell, because not only can Sprewell back you down, but you know that he is so explosive if he takes and gives you a reverse spin move. So that is not an easy matchup for Porter.
Haskins is guarding Houston, picked up by Mourning on the switch. Mourning very active tonight. And Hardaway on Childs goes in, blocked by Mourning. Sprewell with the jumper, and it's an air ball. And Miami gets it back, leading by 11.
Now that's his second attempt at a three tonight and his second air ball. We know that it's a part of his game, but it's not what you would call a major factor. He's only a 27% shooter in threes.
And he can go hot and cold from the field as well. Hot in game one, cold in game two, most of the way. And there is Mourning finding the open man. Haskins in the corner, in and out for the three. Crowd ready to explode. And the Knicks come back down by 11. Trying to make another run here in the fourth quarter. And Allen Houston once again loses his dribble. It's happened several times.
Yes, it has. And it's a shame because, you want him to go to the basket, take people off the dribble. He's done that tonight. But unfortunately for him, he's turning it over.
Here is Porter again faking the shot, the pass,
he missed it.
and missing it. Alonzo Mourning misses the stuff. Sprewell at the other end. Offensive foul, and a good call by Dan Crawford as Sprewell put his shoulder down and went in to the defender, Terry Porter. That will be the fifth personal foul on Latrell Sprewell.
Now that was an express train coming right into your chest. 6'5", 190, taking it strong, lowered your shoulder, put it right in the middle of your chest. I keep an eye on the explosion now, and you're going to see Porter get there. Took it strong, easy call. Because these refs tonight have been consistent down in that painted area, consistent.
So Sprewell goes to the bench with 5 fouls. And there is Mourning. Ewing the rebound. Ewing with Camby, Houston. Larry Johnson back in there along with Chris Childs. Penetration by Childs, nowhere to go. And a foul called as Mourning trying to pass up court. And the foul committed by Marcus Camby. And Camby now with his fourth person.
See, Chris Childs is all upset. And he's going to Danny Crawford, the head of the crew here. And he keeps complaining because he's going down into the paint. He's blowing by his man without any problem. But he continues to leave his feet to pass. And Miami are rotating and taking the contact. He is fortunate that they're not calling an offensive foul on him because then he ends up passing. If he'll go down in there with the idea that he's going to score and score a couple of these, then everything will be fine and they might put him on the foul line.
It's almost like you want to blow a whistle and go out there and tell him that, Hubie. I got that feeling.
Are you trying to get back at me? Hold on. You see that? You know, Mourning said, I'm going to pass the ball to Stockton and see what he can do.
Nothing like Jalen Rose coming up over the top, Hubie in Indiana.
I took it from my company. I took a charge right in the chest for Turner.
I think it's going to show in your next paycheck.
There he goes.
Three-point basket by Allen Houston, who is cold, and now hot again. He has 12 points, and the Knicks' third three-pointer of the night, trailing by 8 now.
He's capable. He's capable not only threes, medium, anything, because he has just such a beautiful shot.
In the corner, Haskins, Marley, perimeter passing right now. Ewing fronting Mourning. Mourning comes out to the perimeter. 2 on the shot clock, and he lost the ball. And a foul as Porter fouls Chris Childs. Mourning was playing cat and mouse with Patrick Ewing and ultimately lost the ball.
Anytime that you front the post up, guys, you got to have design. Now this caused the shot clock was going down. You could see Mourning blew by. He realized the clock was down to 1 or 2. And that was an excellent foul out on the wing by Porter.
Under 7 minutes to go.
How about that?
That went right through Camby's legs.
It sure did.
Into Child's hands. Here is Allen Houston with plenty of time on the clock, but Houston stepped on the line, and the Knicks turn it over, and Houston is upset with himself now.
Well, he should be.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, anytime that he's involved in a dribble, unfortunately for Knicks, it's ending up with turnovers.
Miami is up by 8. At the beginning of the show, we introduced you to Gurley Fernardi, who's busy with her knitting needles every night at the Heat game. And, Dick, I thought I'd let you see what she put together already in 3.5 quarters of work. She's been very busy.
Well, now she's beside herself. She doesn't know what to think. The game is coming down to the end. Well, one grandmama to another one. Remember Larry Johnson and the reputation he had when he was the main man at Charlotte early in his career. Tonight, 13 points on 6 for 11 shooting. But he'll be a good point made about Allen Houston. Houston has lost control of the dribble. He has scored 12 points, but has turned it over 6 times tonight. 6:35 remaining in the 4th period. 69-61, the Heat leading. Porter getting a screen from Mourning, double team. Marley will fire a 3 and hit. That's a big one.
How about that? Hey, it's a big one, Dick, because as you know, he's been sitting out. This is his first shot in this quarter, and he pops in a 3 with the clock going down.
First basket of the game, and he was 0 for 4 Saturday in game 1. Here is Patrick Ewing against Mourning. Mourning does the job, but Camby follows, and it's now 72-63. Halfway through this 4th quarter, the lead is 9 for the Heat.
You have to pay attention to Camby. He's not a back-to-the-basket guy, but he is all over the offensive board.
Mourning misses. Weatherspoon will get the ball in the corner.
Run some time. You got to run some time here and get the shot. High percentage shot. That's what's needed right here.
And the Knicks need a stop and need a run if they're going to contend and make this a close finish down the stretch. Marley, Mourning putting the fake. Good move against Ewing, and an offensive foul called against Alonzo Mourning. That is only his 2nd personal foul.
Now tonight, the rotation at both ends of the floor has really been outstanding. Guys are taking big people in the chest, looking for the charge, and you can see it. That's a compliment to the discipline of the coaches, but also to the players that they understand how important it is to take the charge.
Here is Childs to Camby. No foul. The ball is batted away. Camby was looking for the foul, but he had missed the stuff. He was in good position that time, so the Knicks miss a chance to cut the deficit.
That's right. In a series like this, Dick, all body contact. That's what we said at the top of the game. You got to get over hard screens, and you got to get over getting fouled hard.
Mourning hits this one. Missed a moment ago, but you have seen the big man feels it, is the words you used, and he felt it there.
Well, unfortunately for him, they went away from him for close to 10 minutes in the 3rd quarter. Everybody wondered, where did the lead go? The lead go because he got away from the main man.
Mourning 10 of 15 from the field, 25 points and a timeout, New York.
Well, you can see right now, this is just good ball movement. And as Zoe spots up, Patrick is afraid that he's going to take him off the dribble. He hesitated. Alonzo is feeling it. And when you're 10 for 15 from the floor, you know that it's your type of a game.
On the heels of game 1's 27 points and 10 of 16 shooting, 25 and 10 of 15. It's a carbon copy, and this one's not over yet with 4:49 to go in the 4th quarter. And once again, the Heat up to a double-digit lead, leading by 11.
Now remember, the Knicks are very dangerous because they are an excellent 3-point shooting team, especially the young man who's holding the ball right now.
Haskins is trying to blanket Houston. Mourning picking him up.
Haskins has done a very nice job since he has come in.
Childs trying to work in against Porter. Off the mark, an air ball. That was not the play the Knicks wanted. Ewing can't save it, and the Heat get it back. The Knicks are the victims of tight blanketing defense on the perimeter by the Heat tonight.
Since Askins came in, he gave Marley a blow. And once he continued to change, and anytime that Houston gets the ball with the long arms, he was right there. So Riley is gambling and staying with him, giving him the time.
P.J. Brown in the game. Heat by 11. Porter driving this time and scoring. Terry Porter with 11 points, coming back after an empty game one and a 13-point lead for the Miami Heat. The Knicks shooting only 39% after going over 50% in the opener.
Terry Porter, this is Terry at his best. Good defense and excellent finishing, no matter where the shot attempt comes from.
See, the Heat just won't let the Knicks get off a three-point shot. Sprewell can. Now they'll let Childs, and Childs at the buzzer misses. And trying to save it is Askins, and the Knicks will retain possession. But the Miami Heat keeping the Knicks at bay from beyond the arc.
Miami's done a great job tonight at the power forward position. They've stopped Camby and Thomas coming in with big numbers, points and rebounds. Now, they have done an excellent job on Sprewell since Sprewell has come into this lineup in the second half. In the first half, Sprewell was only 1 for 5, but in this half, he's not even getting the shot attempt once they went away from the post-ups.
Askins gets a hand as he leaves. Good defense by him tonight. And Marley has come back in. Larry Johnson with the air ball, but Patrick Ewing tips it in. And the Heat lead is 11 as we get to under 3.5 minutes remaining. 16 points and 14 rebounds for Patrick Ewing, who is hobbling, and a game-time decision with his Achilles tendon injury. But P.J. Brown with the jumper over Larry Johnson.
Well, you know, because the Knicks are going to trap any of those side screen and rolls. They're not rolling. They're screening and spotting up, and PJ's had that shot all night.
And the Knicks can't afford to trade baskets at this juncture with the Miami Heat.
Look out.
And right now they may be on the short end. 4 on 3, and Hardaway nearly lost the ball, and a scramble and a jump ball finally called.
Give the Knicks credit. Miami had the break. They had Sprewell and the rest of the defenders hustled back, passed the ball, and then they were able to put a trap on Timmy Hardaway to negate him getting into the paint and making something happen.
So the jump ball between Larry Johnson and Tim Hardaway, and it's controlled by the Knicks. As we said, the Knicks can't trade baskets with the time running down to 2:40 to go. They are down by 13 now. Three-point shot. They're a threat, but it hasn't been there for him. And here is Charlie Ward, and he hits the three. So they got to Ward too late. That is his second three-point basket. And now it is a 10-point game.
Now watch the Knicks press. They give you a little token man-to-man press, get you out, try to get you to waste some minutes and seconds and get away from your offense.
Mourning going up, and Ewing with a good defense against it.
Yeah, that's why you go out and press. Get them to shoot quick.
Sprewell goes around Porter and lays it in. Latrell Sprewell now with 12 points, and Pat Riley calls a timeout as the Knicks have gotten it under 10. It is an 8-point lead with 2:04 remaining in regulation.
And people say, Dick, why do you go down the floor in a situation like that and give a token trap? It's because it gets you out and you think you got an advantage and you shoot early.
The Knicks have 3 full timeouts remaining. The Knicks only 1 full timeout left. Each team has 2 fouls to give, but remember, we're getting down to 2 minutes to go, so now each team has only 1 foul to give.
See, I like what the Knicks are doing. See, what they did is they take them right out of what they were going to happen. Now they come in right to a quick pick and roll. The clock is coming down.
Marley hits another big three. Dan Marley has 7 points, but 2 gigantic downtown bombs, and the Knicks call a timeout as the Heat lead by 11. That was clutch.
In that situation, Dick, Pat Riley is coming out, and he's saying, we're going to run a screen and roll on the right side. We know they're going to trap, but we're going to take the ball to the other corner. It was wide open.
Ernie Johnson in our Atlanta studio. Going on right now on TNT, the Hawks and the Pistons. Atlanta has come out of the gate 12-0 in the third quarter to reclaim the lead. Kings and Jazz later on TBS, Suns and Blazers later on TNT. Dick and Hubie.
All right, Ernie, Dan Marley with 2 3-pointers in the last 4.5 minutes after being blanked from the field in this series until then. So he has come out of it at a key time for the Miami Heat. Ward will inbound. It is an 11-point lead for the Heat with close to 1:40 to go, and the ball thrown over the head of Charlie Ward, and Miami gets it back.
Yeah, they were trying a misdirection, and in the NBA you get a lot of that. They were taking that screen and roll to the right, but what they wanted was a 3-point play on a misdirection play coming back to the other side of the floor.
And the Heat in no hurry right now, using and milking the clock. Each team does have a foul to give, and Porter loses the ball and fouls Charlie Ward.
And the ball went in. Look at Charlie with that smile. He just let it fly.
Well, he won a Heisman Trophy at Florida State as a quarterback, so maybe his passes would be on the mark. Ever think of that? That's a great smile that Charlie Ward has. He's got the ball now, but time a factor in this game, and to the detriment of the Knicks, who are down by 11. Ward driving the baseline out to Larry Johnson. Sprewell for 3, and he hits it. Latrell Sprewell now with 15 points. That's his first from beyond the arc.
But you need the pressure now. Now they're going all out looking for the trap. Big thing now is only a layup. There you go.
And a hard foul as Ewing fouls his former college alum in a way. Morning, who will go to the line to shoot 2. That's 5 personals on Patrick Ewing, and Morning will shoot.
Now, once that ball went through and the lead goes down to 8, and you're coming in a 2-on-1 situation, what you want to do is make the defense pay for pressing you in the backcourt, looking for the trap. 2-on-1, you take it strong and you go for the layup.
Morning is 5 of 8 from the line tonight, having another monster game. There is Hardaway and Larry Johnson in deep discussion. Morning misses the first free throw. The Knicks trail the Heat by 8 with just under a minute remaining in regulation. And you can see Charlie Ward indicating a timeout will be called. The Knicks still have 2 timeouts remaining.
We have plenty of time here. And we're talking 59 seconds, especially if he misses this foul shot. You're in good shape.
But Morning connects to make it a 9-point lead for the Heat. And upset with missing the free throw, the Knicks call that timeout. And we'll be back here at the Miami Arena with 59.3.
Well, we're standing by. We're going to be having this game just a moment after yours is over. And as you know, in the first game, Utah dominated the Sacramento Kings, winning by 30 points. You might say the veterans taught the new kids on the block a lesson. And I think the big question is, what kind of lesson did the Kings learn? Let's go back to you, Dick and Hubie.
The lead is 9. Thank you very much, Bob. Each team with 1 timeout left, no fouls to give. What's the story here?
Right, you got 9 points difference here. The big thing is if you get a wide open 3, you take it. If not, you score the quick 2. And by that, I mean you get it to 7. And then if you get it to 7, you put your press on. Miami cannot fool around here now because they only have 1 timeout left. So the big thing now is be careful. A quick 2 is every bit as good as a 3.
Ward out of Allen Houston. Houston is going to fire, and in and out over Askins. And fighting for the loose ball, Miami will get it back. And to tell you, Miami's defense is tremendous. They are not letting the Knicks get off a 3-point shot or not even getting inside.
See, clock management is a major,
interception, bad pass by Porter, and Ward goes up for 3 and misses. So the Knicks try to get the quick 3. They got the ball back on a gift, and Ward fouls Hardaway from behind, and Hardaway will go to the line with 32.7 seconds remaining.
I see you say, well, what's the big deal? Why do you go for the quick 2? You have over 57 seconds to go. If you went for the quick 2 and you got it to 7 and you put on their full court press, Miami only has one timeout left. They would probably try to inbound the ball. You got it? So now you can go for the steal and you can go for the foul and force them to make the foul shots. Plus, the clock isn't moving. Right. But by going for the three and you miss it, they get it. All right, time has gone up. We're down to 32 seconds.
7 points for Hardaway. A good point, but it looked like the Heat weren't going to let the Knicks get an easy 2 out of it either. The first time they had the ball. Houston going out to Ward behind the line. They've got to go for the threes now. And Larry Johnson over P.J. Brown. And the rebound into the hands of Marley. And the Miami Heat will come back and even this series at a game apiece, withstanding the Knicks rally. The Knicks got it to within 4 points with a minute to go in the third. And the Heat went to mourning in the fourth quarter. Their big horse. And that was it. And the time will run out.
2 players who came off the bench, Porter and Marley, for offensive production on the clutch, and then a big bonus to Askins, who came in and did a terrific defensive job.
No question about it, Hubie. Marley with 2 big threes down the stretch, but Mourning with 26 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 blocks. And Patrick Ewing, courageous. He was hobbled and might not have played, but he ended up with 16 points and 15 rebounds. So the Miami Heat beat the New York Knicks 83-73. And the best-of-5 series is tied 1-1. So for Hubie Brown, Craig Sager, Jeff Benke, our producer, Larry Cam, our director, Marty Aronoff, our statistician, Dick Stockton saying so long from Miami. Game 3 will be Wednesday night from New York's Madison Square Garden. Coming up next, it'll be the Sacramento Kings and the Utah Jazz here on TBS Superstation. So a big game that the Heat needed to win at home, and they did. So long, everybody.